Hello, this is Luke, and I'm about to give my speech. I have 5 people here watching. We got Daryl, Foggles, cameraman, Nate, Corey in the corner, and Roger up top. And I will start the speech now. Look at the person sitting to your left, and now look at the person sitting to your right, and ask yourself this question. Does anyone here know someone who's tried to commit suicide? The answer to this hypothetical question is probably yes. According to the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, suicide is the 10th leading cause of death in the United States. In 2015, a roommate of mine had a mental breakdown and attempted to commit suicide. This roommate was then later on diagnosed with depression and received medicine to combat this depression. We'll discuss the outcome of this medicine later. Being shocked that this could happen to my roommate, I began researching suicide in the United States since I really didn't know anything about it. I turned to multiple online sources to become more informed on suicide, and I researched available treatment options which people I knew were going through, such as my roommate. I found that through my research that there are multiple risk factors that predict suicide, and only through additional funded research can we begin to be more effective in preventing, combating, and identifying these risk factors. This speech I'm about to give will discuss the 3 most common risk factors for suicide. We'll explore current research and new research being done to solve suicide, and we'll discuss potential benefits to individuals and our society as a whole by fighting suicide. There are 3 main risk factors that predict suicide will happen. The primary risk for suicide is psychopathological. Over 90% of completed adult and 67% of youth suicides meet diagnostic criteria of a psychiatric diagnosis, according to Mayo Clinic. Another risk factor of suicide is the nature of the stressor may be less important than the actual number of stressors. And this essentially means that, let's say someone had someone really close to them die. That is a big stressor, and that person could be facing a tough aspect in that certain area of their life, but if other areas are going well, they're not that likely to commit suicide. But if someone were having a tough time at job, not feeling close to people emotionally, and had multiple small stressors, that person is actually more likely to commit suicide. And the third biggest reason for suicide is actual alcohol or intoxication being a result. Actually results in a higher chance of suicide. 50% or more of all completed suicides are intoxicated at the time of death, according to the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. What if you knew someone considering suicide? Would you know the warning signs to be able to help them? Now that we've looked at the top 3 risk factors, let's explore how current and new research is trying to combat suicide. Research scientists at the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention are developing new ways to combat and fight suicide, discovering new methods of psychotherapy. In psychotherapy, also called psychological counseling or talk therapy, you explore the issues that make you feel suicidal and learn skills to help you manage the emotions more effectively. You and your therapist can work together to develop a treatment plan and goals according to the Mental Illness and Family website. These counseling methods can also be used to determine a number of other issues, like depression and other different types of mental illness. It may sound easy, but according to the Mental Health America, there are more than 200 classified forms of mental illness. Some of the more common disorders are depression, bipolar disorder, dementia, schizophrenia, and anxiety disorders. Symptoms may include changes in mood, personality, personal habits, or social withdrawal. So fighting suicide is not such an easy task, but it is possible, and it is already happening, though much work remains to be done. Now that you understand how close researchers are to providing better solutions, let's explain what that means for you and for our society as a whole. Imagine, if you will, a world where suicide doesn't happen. It doesn't mean losing a friend, coworker, or lover. You may be able to one day take one simple pill that treats the risk factors like depression and other root causes of suicide. Your children, your friends, your family would be able to properly identify and talk about suicide in a way that promotes prevention. We would be able to divert vast amounts of money and resources dedicated to suicide research to other critical issues such as energy shortages and famine. The potential benefits of the research by the American Foundation Suicide Prevention are undeniable, far-reaching, and necessary. In conclusion, we've talked about the different leading reasons for suicide and the current research being done to fight it. The current research we are doing is leading to more effective outcomes, and imagine what a suicide-free world would be like. Only by continually funding additional research, suicide research today, can we hope to develop new treatments that increase suicide prevention and may lead to a suicide-free future. I ask you to contribute to this critical cause now by making a donation to the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. Luckily, my buddy in his attempt was unsuccessful in his attempt in suicide, but many others are not so unlucky. Fortunately, he was able to get the treatment he needed and now takes pills to prevent his suicidal urges and seeks care from doctors that are able to help him and understand and control these urges. To me, much more can be done for millions of Americans that attempt suicide and are successful. Use their deaths as an inspiration to make a change. Just sweeping it under the rug and turning a blind eye won't do anything. Please don't delay. Donate now to the American Foundation for Suicide Research. And then, if you want to show everyone again, Daryl, Boggles, Nate, Corey, Rogello. Thanks.